Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before you get comfortable, let me say this slowly because your nervous system already feels it. Someone is deeply, intensely, irrationally drawn to you, and the reason it feels heavy in your chest is because you're not supposed to be together. That tension you feel right now isn't imagination, it's recognition. And before we go any further, if this kind of psychological truth matters to you, subscribe to this channel and like this video, because what I'm about to explain is rarely said out loud and almost never explained honestly. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist, not to flatter you, not to manipulate you, but to tell you what your instincts have been trying to whisper. When attraction becomes charged and forbidden, the brain doesn't respond with romance, it responds with obsession. The human mind interprets restriction as value. What cannot be touched becomes magnified. What cannot be claimed becomes rehearsed endlessly in fantasy. This is not poetry, this is neurology. You may notice intense eye contact that lingers a second too long, conversations that feel emotionally intimate but stop just short of crossing a line, or moments of silence that feel louder than words. That's not coincidence. That's restraint colliding with desire. And here is the uncomfortable truth most men are never taught. When a woman feels something she believes she should not feel, her emotions don't disappear, they concentrate. Your presence becomes symbolic. You don't represent just attraction, you represent escape, risk, possibility, and a version of herself she rarely allows to exist. That's why the energy feels different. That's why it feels heavier than normal interest. And that's also why it's dangerous to misunderstand. This situation means two things, and the first is this. The feelings are real, but they are amplified by the barrier, not created by destiny. When the mind cannot act, it imagines. When it imagines, it idealizes. You are being experienced not only as you are, but as who you could be in a world without consequences. That version of you is powerful, but it is incomplete. I'm not saying this to diminish your value. I'm saying this so you don't confuse intensity with inevitability. Forbidden attraction does not mean meant to be. It means emotionally unresolved. And if you don't understand that distinction, you risk becoming attached to an illusion that feeds on silence and restraint. Stay with me, because what this means for your next move will determine whether you gain clarity or lose control. The second thing this situation means is more unsettling, and most men miss it completely. When a connection is forbidden, it doesn't just intensify desire, it exposes psychological conflict. And conflict is where people reveal who they truly are. What you're feeling is not just attraction between two people. It's a battle between impulse and identity happening inside someone else, with you at the center of it. When a woman feels drawn to you but believes acting on it would violate her values, commitments, or self-image, her mind splits. One part of her moves toward you emotionally, the other pulls away morally. This creates hot and cold behavior that feels confusing, intoxicating, and destabilizing. One day she's open, warm, deeply present. The next, distant, controlled, even cold. That inconsistency is not manipulation by default. It's internal tension leaking outward. Here's the part you need to hear as a man. That tension does not resolve on its own. It either collapses inward into guilt and withdrawal, or it erupts outward into impulsive action. And neither outcome is gentle. When people suppress desire long enough, it doesn't fade. It mutates. It becomes obsession, resentment, or emotional dependency. This is why forbidden connections rarely stay quiet forever. They escalate, or they implode. You may feel like you're being tested, like if you just stay calm, patient, and understanding, everything will eventually make sense. That belief is comforting, but it's dangerous, because while you're trying to interpret signals, her nervous system is trying to survive contradiction. And survival reactions are not logical, they're emotional. She may rationalize pulling away while feeling pulled closer. She may convince herself you're a problem simply because you awaken something she doesn't want to confront. This is where many men make their biggest mistake. They personalize the push and pull. They assume they did something wrong, or that they need to prove something right. But this isn't about your worth or your effort. This is about what you represent. You represent choice. And choice terrifies people who have built their lives around certainty. So understand this clearly. Being desired in a forbidden way does not put you in a position of power. It puts you in a position of responsibility. How you respond will either stabilize the situation or intensify the chaos. If you chase, you increase the pressure. If you withdraw completely, you leave her alone with unresolved emotion that may later resurface in unpredictable ways. The real strength here is emotional containment, knowing when attraction is real, but the timing is wrong, knowing when connection exists, but clarity must come before action, and most importantly, knowing that not every intense bond is meant to be consumed. Some are meant to be understood, then released. Now listen carefully, because this is where most men either grow emotionally or repeat the same painful pattern for decades. When someone is secretly, intensely drawn to you but believes the connection is forbidden, they begin to study you, not casually, not playfully, psychologically. You become a reference point. Your tone, your timing, your reactions are all observed because the mind is trying to decide whether the risk you represent is worth the cost. This is why you may feel unusually seen around this person. She remembers small details, mirrors your emotional state, senses your shifts before you speak. That's not coincidence, and it's not romance alone. It's hyper-awareness. When desire is suppressed, attention sharpens. The brain becomes alert because it perceives danger and reward at the same time. But here is the truth no one tells you. That level of attention does not automatically mean readiness. In fact, it often means the opposite. It means she is gathering information to protect herself from her own feelings. She is asking herself questions you will never hear out loud. Would he change my life? Would I lose control? Would I regret this? And while those questions circle in her mind, your presence becomes emotionally loaded. This creates a subtle trap for you. You start feeling special, chosen, different from everyone else. And you might be. But being desired is not the same as being chosen. Desire lives in emotion. Choice lives in action. And forbidden situations delay action while inflaming emotion. That imbalance is where men lose themselves. If you lean into the intensity without grounding it, you become part of her internal conflict rather than a solution to it. She may lean on you emotionally while denying you clarity. She may share vulnerability while withholding commitment. Not because she's cruel, but because she's divided, and division always looks like inconsistency from the outside. This is where mentorship matters. You must ask yourself not what you feel, but what this dynamic is teaching you. Is it expanding your self-respect or slowly eroding it? Is it adding peace to your life or keeping you in a state of anticipation and uncertainty? Emotional tension can feel alive, but aliveness without direction eventually becomes exhaustion. A grounded man does not try to resolve someone else's internal war. He does not audition for permission to be chosen. He stays present, but he stays centered. He allows space for clarity to emerge, knowing that clarity always favors those who do not abandon themselves. And here's the quiet power move. When you stop feeding the tension and start embodying calm self-assurance, the truth surfaces. Either the connection moves into the open or it fades. Both outcomes protect you, because what is truly meant for you will not require you to live in emotional secrecy. Here's the part that most men will never hear from anyone. Forbidden attraction is a mirror. It shows you the parts of yourself you've ignored, denied, or buried. When someone is crazy about you but can't be with you, their intensity is amplifying the shadows in your own psyche. The longing, the desire, the frustration, they all reflect what you're willing or unwilling to confront within yourself. And until you recognize that, no amount of charm, effort, or patience will ever give you clarity. Think about it. Every heartbeat racing when she's near, every second of obsession, every imagined scenario in your mind, those are all signals from your own emotional system, triggered by her energy but originating inside you. The forbidden element acts like a lens, focusing raw, unprocessed feelings until they become impossible to ignore. This is not a punishment. It's a revelation, and most men run from it. They chase her, beg for signs, or try to rationalize what is inherently irrational. That's the fastest way to lose control and attract chaos instead of clarity. Now, let me tell you what most men misunderstand about desire. Attraction is never neutral, but it is also not destiny. Intense desire in a forbidden context is fueled by tension, mystery, and risk. It does not exist in a vacuum, and it does not automatically translate into long-term compatibility or emotional safety. Feeling wanted is intoxicating, but being wanted under restriction is like drinking a storm. It feels powerful, but it can drown you if you're not anchored. And here's the critical psychological truth. Forbidden desire will exaggerate traits you already have. If you're insecure, it amplifies doubt. If you're patient, it tests endurance. If you crave validation, it heightens obsession. The attraction itself is neutral. What it ignites inside you determines the outcome. That is why some men get lost in the allure, repeating the same mistakes over and over, while others observe, learn, and grow stronger. This is where discernment becomes your secret weapon. Ask yourself, am I engaging with this energy for insight, or am I simply feeding the thrill? Am I learning about myself, or am I giving my power away in exchange for fleeting attention? The answers are uncomfortable, but they are the only things that separate men who grow from men who suffer silently. Remember, forbidden desire is a teacher disguised as temptation. Respect it, watch it, learn from it, but do not lose yourself in it. Your clarity, integrity, and self-respect are the currencies that cannot be borrowed, begged for, or stolen. They must be defended relentlessly. Now let's get even deeper, because most men fail to see the danger that comes with forbidden attraction until it's too late. When someone is obsessed with you but cannot be with you, the intensity is double-edged. On one side, it draws you in. It flatters, energizes, and makes you feel alive in ways normal relationships rarely do. But on the other side, it can quietly erode boundaries, manipulate emotions, and tether you to a story that isn't yours to live. Here's the key. Intensity is not a guarantee of compatibility. Just because she can't stop thinking about you, just because her emotions flare at your presence, doesn't mean she's emotionally available, ready to commit, or capable of a healthy relationship with you. Forbidden attraction thrives on what I call emotional suspense. Every glance, every message, every fleeting moment is designed, not consciously by her, but unconsciously by her nervous system, to heighten stakes, create longing, and amplify desire. And when you participate without awareness, you become a character in her inner conflict, not a man living his own life. Most men respond the wrong way. They chase, they reassure, they try to fix the pull and push. That only feeds the cycle. When you chase, you validate the forbidden tension. You make it bigger. You give her mind more fuel to justify its resistance while secretly craving you. And here's what's subtle but critical. The forbidden dynamic thrives on imbalance. It needs one person who is unstable enough to lean in emotionally, and one person who is enticed enough to lean back or push forward at the wrong times. Without imbalance, the obsession loses its charge. So what does a grounded man do? He observes without attachment. He notices the intensity without being seduced by it. He protects his boundaries, keeps perspective, and refuses to allow her internal conflict to hijack his emotional life. This is not rejection. It's discernment. It's clarity. It's knowing that desire alone is a spark, but commitment, stability, and mutual respect are fire. And here's the most profound truth. When you embody that clarity, something remarkable happens. You no longer chase her story, and her obsession either stabilizes into conscious choice or dissipates entirely. Either way, you emerge intact, respected, and in control of your own life. Forbidden attraction is messy, intoxicating, and powerful. But mastery over your own mind and emotions is far more seductive than any fleeting intensity. This is where most men stumble. They mistake chaos for connection, obsession for intimacy, and attention for love. And by learning to see through the illusion, you gain the advantage that almost no man ever achieves. You become the calm at the center of the storm, the man who is desired without losing himself, who is seen without needing to prove anything, and who holds the rarest power in relationships: emotional sovereignty. Let's talk about the subtle, almost invisible ways this forbidden intensity affects you, because most men don't notice until it's too late. Every time you engage with someone who is obsessed but unavailable, your nervous system is triggered, your dopamine spikes, your adrenaline surges, and your emotional focus narrows to them alone. That rush feels addictive because the brain is wired to respond to uncertainty with craving. You think it's chemistry or fate, but it's biology, and it doesn't care about your dignity or your long-term happiness. You might find yourself replaying conversations, analyzing texts, or imagining what could happen if circumstances were different. That's normal, but here's the critical point. Forbidden attraction thrives on your attention more than it thrives on any actual connection. The more you think about her, the bigger the energy becomes. The more you chase, the deeper the emotional spiral. And this is why many men get trapped in a loop, mistaking obsession for love and illusion for reality. Here's the hard truth. This type of connection magnifies both your strengths and your weaknesses. If you are self-aware, disciplined, and emotionally strong, you gain insight and clarity. If you are insecure, reactive, or need external validation, you lose yourself, and you may not even realize it until months or years have passed. Forbidden intensity doesn't forgive weakness, it exposes it. It doesn't respect patience, it tests it. And it certainly doesn't honor entitlement, it punishes it. But there is a path to mastery. First, acknowledge your own power in the dynamic. You are not just a passive target of her obsession, you are a participant. Your energy, presence, and decisions shape the emotional charge. Second, recognize the difference between desire and decision. Desire can be chaotic, fleeting, and consuming. Decision is deliberate, grounded, and accountable. And the man who aligns with decision over desire becomes untouchable by the emotional turbulence of forbidden attraction. Finally, understand this: the forbidden nature of the connection is the ultimate amplifier. The drama, secrecy, and impossibility heighten feelings for both of you, but none of it guarantees a future. The moment you chase clarity without self-control, you hand over your power. The moment you prioritize your own emotional sovereignty, you either attract conscious choice or you escape unnecessary suffering. Remember, men, intensity is seductive, but clarity is priceless. The person who understands this doesn't get lost in obsession. They learn, they grow, and they emerge stronger. Forbidden desire is a storm, but storms do not last forever, and the wise man always knows how to stand firm while they rage around him. Here's the final truth most men never grasp. Forbidden attraction is not a story about her. It's a story about you, your choices, and the emotional architecture you're willing or unwilling to build. The intensity, the longing, the obsession, they're all mirrors reflecting your boundaries, your self-respect, and your capacity to hold space for yourself amidst chaos. And if you fail to see that, you will become addicted to the tension instead of mastering it. Every pull, every hesitation, every secret glance is an opportunity to test your own clarity. Will you let yourself be consumed by desire, or will you stay anchored in awareness? Will you chase a version of connection that exists only in fantasy, or will you wait for reality to align with truth? This is where the men who grow separate from the men who suffer. Growth comes from restraint, observation, and uncompromising self-respect. And here's what most men miss. Forbidden attraction can be a gift if handled wisely. It forces you to confront fear, control, and your own emotional triggers. It teaches patience, discernment, and how to separate intensity from intimacy. The connection may never become yours in the conventional sense, and that is the point. The gift is in the lesson, not the outcome. Your clarity is your power. The more you maintain your emotional sovereignty, the more the truth will emerge. Either she will act consciously, making a choice that is real, or the attraction will fade, freeing both of you from a cycle that could have consumed years of your life. Either